the problem that we face is huge, and I agree with you 100%. Nobody seems to be asking anybody to help. I hear your need. I mean, you said it today, just a minute ago. We're going to need people that volunteer, that put in their resumes, that submit their resumes. To who?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of disarray, which will take care of itself in time.
Yes,
but
sir.
Time is short, and people are absolutely wanting to move forward in some sort of way if they can. And that's the growing pains you're experiencing is people. You got a bunch of people that want to move forward, and you can't move them forward right now. You'll be able to in time. My problem is documents on your founding documents. A passport is mentioned immediately, but there is no passport. I understand you need a new machine to make the passports, and the passports are going to cost a lot of money because you're going to have to pay somebody interest on. I get it, but it still has to be done. It has to be done fast because, like somebody like me who wants to travel and be, who knows, maybe an ambassador to whatever country they're in. And I'm not saying that that would be the choice that somebody would make about me, but there's got to be 10,000 me's.
There's got to be a million.
I'm just saying, Kelby. I'm just saying. So if we can address that, I'll let somebody else have the floor because I don't want to take any more time than that. See, I didn't give it to you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. Not a problem, man, because I love you. I don't want to be any other way but that.
You too. Appreciate you. I really do.
Okay.
I'm not sure I heard a question in what you were asking, but
passport.
Passports. Okay. The passport machine is twofold. It costs about $100,000. Number one. Number two. There's certain things you have to do with other countries, which we've got in place, and then we have to make the registration with the UN. It's not necessarily an approval, but it is a registration. And I don't even know exactly the nuances of the back end. I do know.
Hold on a minute. The UN comes between a sovereign nation of people and the right to travel. But that's exactly what you just said, which isn't correct. Of course they can't.
No, I think what I just said was you have to make a registration to the UN and to, these various different agencies of who you are. And a registration doesn't mean you need to seek their approval as a sovereign nation. But let's just imagine, if you will, the UN says no for whatever reason and doesn't allow for their worldwide operators, TSA, Homeland Security, whatever, the people that are working with them to accept the lawful passport where other countries have sponsored us and said we are a valid nation. We have 100 countries that are in support of us. We have several that have sponsored us to as a sovereign nation, which is all that's required, in my understanding, to get the passports up and working. So to answer when or how, I don't know.
As a follow-up, Kelby, and I'm sorry, but it's short, am I not being forced into a contract with the de facto soon-to-be gone with the grace of God, by the grace of God, corporation?
By doing what?
By making me travel on a passport that is under their bylaws.
Well, let me put it to you this way. You need to go on YouTube and watch how TSA deals with people. It's not about what is right or lawful to me. It's not about whether our documents are real.
I've addressed that. I'm kind of ahead of you a couple steps. I'm planning to travel by private plane, by private conveyance, bypassing security.
Yeah, then that's your own will. You could do what you want on the private
Well,
side.
I don't have a choice because I have to, right? But it still begs the question. So I go to XYZ country. I'm still on a passport by all capitals, United States. Because it's a corporation, and I'm traveling under there. I am forced into a contract I don't want to be in.
Currently, in the future, when our passports come about, you will not be on an all capital letter United States.
Okay.
By the way, a passport is an upper and lowercase United States of America, which is interesting. Number one. Number two, your name inside of a passport is all upper letters. But needless to say, the Republic, I've seen the designs. I've seen what was submitted. We are very close to having a Republic passport, so just hang in there, Sydney. We'll get to that point.
Thank you, sir.
You got it. You have a great day.
You too.
Okay, we're going to bring on area code 864. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry, I'm not sure. I've never asked a question here before. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not.
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, good. I'm Robbie from the South Carolina Republic, and I had more of a statement than anything. I wanted to thank you guys for all the hard work you put into this, because I've been with matter of fact, Governor Brady is a good friend of mine, and I've been with this since this was the Restore America plan. So I've seen a lot of things happen in the past year that completely dumbfounded me. And I took that red pill a long time ago, went down that rabbit hole, and haven't come out yet. But the statement I wanted to make was we went to de facto court today, and Melody, my friend who was in court, stood up and she did everything correctly. She filed judicial notice and all that, trying to take the court in her own sovereign realm, and was completely railroaded out of court, and they actually sent her to jail. She's in jail right now as we speak. And also they kept her ID as well. And I don't say this because I don't want to scare anybody, because I know a lot of people are worried about what's happening with the Republic and all like that. I say this because this is actually going to be a turning road for us, because they have to actually pay attention to us now. I know this sounds crazy to a lot of people, but the point is that we're actually on the map. They've taken her ID. They put her in jail. They literally laughed us out of court, literally, because they told us that, well, I can make an ID in the trunk of my car. No, you can't make an ID in the trunk of your car, not with this kind of power behind it. And the point I'm trying to make here,
are you saying they took your Republic, the new Republic ID?
Yes. Yeah, they took that from her today in court.
In court, and they put her in jail?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Say that again, please.
And they put her in jail for what?
For contempt of court.
Okay. Contempt of court is contempt of court. A lot of times contempt of court could be just talking, and the judge says contempt of court, and you get an automatic 5 days.
That's what it was. She was talking, and she'd actually fired her attorney and was actually representing herself, and the judge was not. He just kind of railroaded her. Luckily, we had a lot of witnesses.
Was she inside the bar?
No, she was behind the bar. And she did not answer her stall person name either.
Okay, but she committed a contempt of court, and they put her in jail for it.
Yes, sir.
That's basically the only thing that they can do against you or anybody else. And I'll tell you this, I know for a fact that what you just happened or what you just went through today is a huge variable, because there's so many things that could have been done either way to prevent that, that could have been addressed with her. And number one. Number two, I don't know the outcome or the circumstances, but I'll tell you this. They don't have jurisdiction over her, and they are looking at that identification right now, and they're probably about ready to crap their pants, because they're going to get noticed that they took a sovereign forcibly. You got to remember, once she's walked into that building, she's within their general jurisdiction. If she doesn't know how to handle herself, she absolutely could be put into a jail. And what do they have her registered in jail? I'd be interested to find out if it's Jane Doe or if it's actually her name. And did she represent herself? Well, if she represented herself, she represented the straw man. Represent is a word called represent. You're representing your fictitious straw man, you are in fact saying, and you represent yourself, that you are that person that's in that court on that court document. There's so many different ways that you have to handle yourself in court, and if you don't do it properly, or if you just do it properly and piss the judge off, this is really sad for me to say. The judges in these black robes, they're basically magicians. Their sole job is to get you to acquiesce into their jurisdiction. And you can actually acquiesce, just like Ken said, the word person. The definition of person is trust, corporation. That's one of them. And so when you go to court and they say, are you this person, you're automatically in the jurisdiction if you don't know how to answer yourself and handle yourself, even if you're outside of their jurisdiction, outside of that bar. So when I say there's so many different variables, you could say it all right. You could say, no, my name is Kelby. I'm here as blah, 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 and do it all right. And that judge can just get pissed off and just throw you in jail as contempt. And what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? He just kidnapped you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm going to tell you this. There's a day of reckoning, and you will one time in the very near future look at that
and
judge.
And we have much resolve for this as well, because we know we're doing the right thing, because we're doing this because this is where God put us to be. And so we're doing this for not just us, but we're doing it for our republic, and we're doing it through God. So that's the most important thing we got to remember.
Yes, sir. And you will one day look at that judge, and he will be in an inferior position in submission to you. And you will have an opportunity to offer him forgiveness. But there will be a day of judgment. And that judge will reject unlawful actions he takes to people.
It's funny you mentioned it, because I even told her when I talked to when they finally let her have her phone call, and I talked to her tonight, and I told her, I says, you got to remember, I says, all these people who have wronged you today, we need to forgive them, because this is what we got to do for ourselves and them, and represent our republic well. And she's prepared to do that too. So we're not ill with anybody. We know this is a road that we had to go down to kind of test the envelope a little bit to see how far we could push it open. And we knew we had to do this, and we didn't mind being the guinea pigs for this, only because, someone has to do it to get the ball rolling, kind of, and that's what we're doing, so we can represent our republic well, and then hopefully do what we need to get our other people online with this as well, to see that this is going to help everybody, not not a couple of us, but all of us. This is for all of us. All the guys have been working on this, have been putting their life and heart and everything else into it. And this is what we got to do to pay our penance too, to be a part of all this.
Remember one thing. What we haven't done yet, and that we still need to do, is give notice. Right. Okay? That's what we haven't done. And when we give notice, we're going to follow it up with another one. Sir, there will be a day which you will have to forgive them, and where that judge will be an inferior person and real living man, and he's going to face judgment. You need to let it go. And do me a favor, send me a sideline email with a description of what you talked about, because I'll tell you this right now. Then we'll call our friends in the Department of Justice and the FBI. And I say that with surety. I say that because there is fractions that don't support us, but the large majority do, because they understand the truth now. We've spent the time discussing who we are and what we've done and how we've done it. And my point is, I'll bet you dime for dollar Tim will make a phone call for that girl. So give me that information as quickly as you can. And we've had our Justice Billy Faust. He was thrown in for contempt. I've been almost thrown in for contempt. Luckily, I'm going to tell you straight up, luckily, I knew what to say to scare the bailiff from putting those cuffs on. And it scared the hell out of that bailiff. I said it on him for the record, and it made them turn around and not put the cuffs on me. And then I looked back at the judge, and I kept speaking normally, kept speaking softly, and I waited my turn. And when he told me to shut up,